Hey there, you people out there in YouTube land. How the heck are you today? It is a beautiful day here in the lower part of the upper peninsula. We were in the top part in Grand Marais. Now we're on the southern tip of Lake Michigan, or the northern tip of Lake Michigan by Escanaba. And it's very pretty. It's a first time this campground's ever, well, it's the first summer for it actually there. It's brand new. But it's coming along good. Got to know the owners, of course. Had some beers with them. But anyway, I was going to jump on here and tell you another little short story. And I decided that I've been talking about all my undercover narcotics and stuff like that. And like I said, I got on here really to make videos for my kids and my grandkids. When they get older, they can see their ugly old Paul and Grandpa. And so I'm going to change it up today. I'm going to tell you a story about growing up in a town, a population of 28, where I'm kin to 6 of them, and what I done in our summer times opposed to what kids do nowadays. And if you're old like me, you probably done the same amount of stuff or kind of what I done. But anyway, I'm going to jump into about when I was 10, 12 years old. I'm not going to bore you with my younger years. But anyway, we lived in a little town, southwest Arkansas, famous town of Jot 'em Down, Lum and Abner. If you want to look that up, Google it. It'll tell you what town. And like I said, I was kin to more than half the people in, well, not more than half, but almost half the amount of people there. My uncle moved there. Him and his family took off in the 70s in a homemade camper on an old, like 1948 ton Chevy truck. They traveled to Canada and Alaska. They ended up in Arkansas somehow. We were from Missouri, and we'd go down and visit them, and we finally decided to move down there with them. And when we moved down there, my parents ended up buying like 30 some acres, almost 40 acres on the Ouachita River. So I grew up playing on the river and the national forest. Back in them days, you didn't have a babysitter or nothing. I just tell Mom, I was 10, 12 years old, like I said. I tell her I was going down to the river, go swimming. Okay. And Mom actually had a damn bell that if I was down to the river, because it was quite a distance from the house to the river. And we'd go down there, and my dad and Uncle Jerry cleared the place on the river, so it was kind of a beach thing. And then over the years, Uncle Jerry got a backhoe and hauled in gravel and rock and made it where family could camp out down there in tents and stuff. But I'd go down there and fish, swim, and had an old black and tan lab dog, black and tan hound dog, Sally. She had more pups. Every time she had pups, she'd have 18, 20, 22, and all that. Anyway, I'm just rambling, so excuse me. But I grew up on the Ouachita River. Fished. We had a little old boat. It wasn't worth the crap, but we had a boat. And the bad thing about it is I'd get in the river by myself and go fishing, and I'd go downstream. Then I'd have to paddle that son of a gun back up the river, and being a 12-year-old boy in a decent-sized little boat, it's a pain in the ass. But I learned how to noodle. I don't know if anybody knows what I'm talking about, noodling. If you don't know, ask me and I'll tell you. Learned to set trot lines, run trot lines, limb lines, stuff like that with my dad, catfishing. I had a great childhood. We were poor as you could get. We lived in a camping trailer, probably 28-foot camping trailer. And my grandma and grandpa from Missouri, my dad's mom and dad, they moved down. They had just a little, probably 10-foot teardrop looking camper. They lived in it. My brother lived in a well house, a big well house, but he lived in it. We had an outhouse. My grandpa, he was a prospector. He lit dynamite to blow a hole to build the damn outhouse on. That was for him and Grandma. We had a toilet in our camping trailer, but 9 times out of 10, you had to go to the outhouse. Mom didn't want to have that in the house when she was in there, especially cooking in such a small area. I ran around Pine Ridge. Oh, hell, I just told you the name of the town. Run around there on our bicycles and stuff. And my cousin, I had 3 cousins there. We'd go up in the woods, we'd build forts. We'd steal hammers and saws and nails and stuff from my dad and my uncle. We'd go build forts and all this stuff with my cousins. And it was a great time to be a kid. You didn't have no damn cell phones to worry about. You didn't have no distractions. You just had your imagination. And I think that's what's wrong with the people today. Even counting my kids, you know, they grew up with these little old gizwizzy Game Boys and stuff like that. Of course, I bought them, so it's my fault too. But living in Pine Ridge, when we would go out of town, we had our own newspaper. It was only like 2 pages, but we still had our own newspaper. And Willie Garrett was the editor or writer, whatever you want to call it. But like if we'd go out of town to Missouri, or we had family come down, it was in the newspaper. Martin family had relatives come down from Monette, Missouri, and they spent da-da-da-da. It was quite a little town. Ori, her husband, they ran the old post office, barber shop, and just like a necessity store. And it probably wasn't a store. It's still there. It's not a store no more. It's just an old building. It's still got the old barber's chair in it. I've always wanted to steal that son of a gun, but nowhere to put it in my camper. But he only knew one haircut, and that was a burr haircut. So he never cut my hair or my cousin's hair. We always had longer hair. When we first moved down there, everybody was giving us crap, calling us sissies and girls and all this stuff. And, you know, hell, it didn't bother me. I was cooler than they were. They had burr haircuts and all, and I had tennis shoes. A lot of them didn't have no damn shoes. But they was my friends. We just had different, I don't know, really, you know, and they're still my friends today, ones that's still alive. And but it was a great time to grow up. Love and Abner store was there. It's more or less, half of it's a museum, half of it was a gift shop and all that. And then when Ori and Willie died, they moved the post office over into the Jot 'em Down store. And then they had the old post office and general store and museum all in one. And it's still all standing. It's all for sale now. If I had hell, it's probably $200 and some thousand that they want for the goofy thing now, but it's been, Jot 'em Down store's been there since I think 1938 or in 1930s. And it's a cool little town. I'll post a picture of it at the end of this video when I went there here a while back before I had a motorcycle wreck. I was on my bike. But I'll post a picture of it. And my dad, he used to be insulator. He was a union insulator. He traveled all over the United States, worked on the Alaska pipeline back in the 70s. He'd always be home for my birthday in April, and he always left the day after school started. And he was gone from August to April. And never saw him a whole lot, you know, during them times. But he called when you had landlines. You know, we'd have to make sure everybody on the party line knew that Dad was calling. So Mom had got on there and made it strict that you don't be on the phone at 8 o'clock on Wednesday or whatever time and date it was. And they all adhered to my mom. A lot of people adhered to my mom. She could be a mean old woman, but she was a great old woman. I sure miss her. And but Dad, he did. He worked on nuclear powerhouses, oil refineries. I did some of that stuff right after I got out of the Army, before I got into law enforcement. I had several jobs that I'd done, but not for an extended period of time. But growing up in Pine Ridge, like I said, everybody knew you. You sneak on somebody's place and fish in their pond. They didn't even mess with hollering at you or shooting at you, because they would shoot at you. And they'd just either go tell your parents, or they'd call your parents and say, Chris and Tim's been down here fishing in the pond again. They didn't have permission. And then we'd get in trouble again. Charlie Ball, he had a big old pond, and he stocked that son of a gun full of channel catfish, and he fed them. And me and Tim was probably 13, 14 years old. We'd walk about a half a mile just to get to his pond and stand on the little dock he threw and just grab a handful of gravel and throw out there. And them catfish think it's feed, and they'd come up and just be swarming, trying to, and we throw our bare hooks out there. Just fast you could throw, and you'd get one. Throw it. Of course, they weren't like maybe 2 pounds, but shoot, I think we cleaned his pond out because we got a big flood one time and his dam broke, and after that he said, oh, all my fish went out the spillway and I ain't got no damn fish in there. Uncle Jerry and Dad thought, yeah, sons has done fished that thing dry. But we had catfish to eat. And everybody knew everybody. If you had a problem, you didn't have $10 and needed groceries, somebody would give you groceries or food. I wish it was that way nowadays. We're in this little town right now, and you can see this little, it's a finger off of Lake Michigan, and just over that little horizon is Lake Michigan. And I was up at the bar last night. Go figure, there's a bar in this little town. There's a bar, it's all in one building. A bar, a restaurant, and they call it an inn, a little motel. But it's built back in the 1900s. And I think that they said that there's like 33 people that live in this town. And I feel so much at home here, it's crazy. Matter of fact, the owner of the campground, I got to know them at the bar, believe it or not. And she came by and picked me up today, and I told her, I said, I'm kind of looking for a little knob of land to spend the summers in. She put me on her daggum golf cart and took me and showed me a place. I've already talked to the wife about it. Don't know what's going to happen, but I do. I like it here. It's quiet, peaceful. Reminds me of back home in Arkansas, only it's not as hot. God, I'm just rambling, aren't I? I ain't said 2 words that really tied together. But I did. I had a great childhood. You know, I can't really explain. If you didn't grow up in a small town, everybody knew you, everybody cared about you. Everybody liked you, they'd get mad at you or pissed off. You know, me and Timmy, we got in some trouble one time because some old guy had his pumping water out of our creek swimming hole. And we cut the hose up and cut the string off the spool string. And like, who else is going to do that besides the 2 kids that swim in that swimming hole all the time? So, of course, we had to work in his garden. We had to work enough to pay for him getting a new garden hose and get his little, Uncle Jerry had to fix his pull-start engine. And we worked in that garden all summer long, pulling up weeds and picking tomatoes and cucumbers and corn. And it's like, how dumb can you be? There's only 2 kids that swim in a swimming hole. And so, you know, it's kind of stupid shit that we done growing up. Snuck out a gun one time from my dad, a little 22 Magnum lever action. We took it out in a field just, I don't know, a little ways from the house. And we just shooting it at a pond. And we decided, me and Timmy, we decided to shoot at a tree up on the bank. It was a big old cedar tree. Anyway, shooting at that. And I'll be goddamned if next day, can't think of his name now, Leonard. Anyhow, Leonard's. Man, I wish I could think of his name. I'm not sure Leonard is his last name. Anyway, he come up to the house and said that he'd saw me and Timmy. And it's like, no, I don't think he did. But he said we killed a cow. Lord, was I in trouble. And I hadn't put the gun back, so I was caught red-handed. So Dad asked me where his damn rifle was, and I told him it was outside hid. So I went and got it. Him and Uncle Jerry, Dad and Uncle Jerry wore our asses out. And then we had to go work for Barry, was his name, Mr. Barry. Had to go work for Mr. Barry, cleaning out cow shit and this, that, and other. And thank God it was just a little calf that we killed, but son of a bitch, if that would have been a full bull that was worth of money, well, shit, I'd still be working. But and then, you know, I got a little older and started hauling hay and this, that, and other. And back then, you got like 20 cents, 25 cents if it was a good guy, and hauling bales of hay, you know, square bales about 3 foot long, 2 foot wide, weigh about 50, 60 pounds. On good grass would be, you know, 80, 100 pounds. You have to buck them things up into a trailer and stack them, and then unload them and stack them in the barn. And you got 20, 25 cents to do it. And if you drove, you only got a nickel. So, you know, I worked all summer one year hauling hay, 25, 20 cents a bale of hay, and I saved up enough money. I saved up $250, and I bought me a really nice 1964 El Camino. And man, that was my pride and joy. And long story short, I started seeing this girl that had a chicken house, and they were real religious. You know, I wasn't. We went to church and stuff, but anyhow, I went over to Lisa's house to help gather eggs. But before I done that, I was going to go to the gas store and get gas. And I remember getting gas, and it was 53 cents a gallon because I used change out of my ashtray to buy my gas. And on the way back, I ran into their damn chicken truck head on, totaled out my truck, broke my leg, just tore me up. And that was the beginning of my accidental life. That was when I was 14. So anyway, I know I rambled. I really want to get back to talking about my childhood and get my childhood, my teenage years, my after military for like a year maybe, where I worked on, in Arkansas there's a nuclear one powerhouse. I worked on it, worked on a couple oil refineries in Texas and North Dakota, South Dakota with my dad, traveled with him. Talk about my military, been talking about my narcotics stuff. Now I want to talk about working for the health department, where I chase down people with STDs, and talk about my wreck, and talk about my RV life and how things are going. So if you really do want to know about my life, other than all the fun shit working undercover, keep tuning in. I got to get on the track. I'm slapping the table if you can hear it. I got to get on the track of telling my whole story instead of just parts here and parts there, because hell, my kids, they ain't gonna watch everything to watch something, but if I get it in chronological order, they may watch it more. And so I want to start doing that. And if you don't like it, I apologize now, but that's what I'm gonna have to start doing. And every once in a while I may throw in a tidbit of some crazy shit I done in the military, or some more crazy shit working undercover, and some really crazy shit working, tracking down people with HIV and syphilis and that type of shit. But I've had a good life. I've lived more than I should have, and I'm still living. And I was talking to my Uncle Jerry the other day. He's 84 years old. He's the oldest Martin still alive. And I guess I'm the second oldest, and I'm 61, because I'm older than his kids. And I guess I got cousins out there that may be a few years older than me, but I don't know them. Hell, hadn't seen them since we were kindergarten through 3rd grade before I moved to Arkansas. So anyway, if any of that might interest you, keep coming back, checking it out. Send me comments. Ask me about my childhood. Hell, I'll tell you whatever, because I've done some shit. I said earlier that I done stuff that I had to go in the military for, because I thought they was going to send me to penitentiary. So I've got some stuff out there. I wasn't an angel by any means. So if you want to follow, like, send me a comment, subscribe. Man, I just need like 11 more people, and I'll be at 100, and I'll be a happy camper. Literally a happy camper. So y'all have a good day. It's Friday. I'm fixing to go up here to the little Nama bar, have me a $2.50 Budweiser long neck, and chit chat with some of the town folks. And then I'm gonna cook some stuff on the griddle. So y'all have a good weekend, and I'll talk to you soon. Remember, send me some comments.